we had to sort of get her earlier. Her name is F.O.T.H. She is one of our very sort of senior writers, we call it. You know, the people who have been writing short stories, fiction, criticism, sort of is a big name in Urdu literature. She was so sick, she has not been out for months. So I think it's a miracle, and it is special affection of her to come. So she told me that she couldn't stay very long, but I said whatever time she can, because her daughter Nahid, we couldn't have her here without Nahid's help. So this is a very special day for us to have Nahid and F.O.T.H sort of to have us here. So I have to introduce the writer as well as the book briefly, so that before we have a big discussion, we have a number of speakers, most of them reviewing the English book, but a couple of them reviewing the Urdu book. So let me briefly introduce you who Naeem Ashraf is. Naeem Ashraf is a fiction translator, writer and educationist. Naeem Ashraf, besides being a mechanical engineer from UET Lahore, holds Masters in Human Resource Management from Virtual University of Pakistan. For the last 3 decades, he has been a keen reader of fiction and poetry. After his retirement in 2014, Ashraf wrote numerous book reviews, articles and essays on social issues. His flair for writing led him to choose a comparatively difficult path of writing, which is fiction translation. And as many of you know, translating essays might be easier, but translating fiction and even more poetry is usually a very, very hard thing to do. His translated short story book, Trespass, was published by Sunday Meal Publications, that's one of the leading publishing houses in Lahore, in 2016. His second translated anthology, The Incredible Pakistani Short Stories, has been published by the same publisher in 2019. Translation of Cliché 27 Urdu short stories by Khurram Baqa is another feather in his cap, besides translating Dervishon Ka Dera, that the book that I'll be launching today. So the present book, I think let me show you. The background is that this Urdu book called Dervishon Ka Dera, that was written by myself and a young writer from Pakistan. We exchanged 50 letters in 3 months through the internet. We had never met, but I was quite impressed by her fiction writing. Then one day, Rabia told me about Naeem Ashraf. Actually, in one of the letters she mentioned, in the second or the third letter, at that time I had no idea who Naeem Ashraf was, that she mentioned in one of the letters that her friend Naeem Ashraf goes to Canada, to Calgary, where his daughter lives. So that was a very casual comment in one of the letters about him. But to be honest with you, I did not pay that much attention to one of her friends. But as the project evolved, she mentioned him more than once, and she had a lot of high regard for him. So I got curious. So when the book was completed, she sent him a copy, and he read. And that time, many of you know the book that was becoming very famous, The 40 Rules of Love. He was also translating that book in Urdu. So he translates both from English to Urdu and Urdu to English. And then something very mysterious happened. And the mysterious thing was that when this book was published, at the back you could see there are 2 pictures, my picture and Rabia's picture. So I told him there is a space, empty space in the back, just a coincidence. And that empty space is for his picture. So now that the English book is translated, you could see that this space on this side is captured. So I think it's just a coincidence. Rabia is a very spiritual person, so she thought it was all meant to be from some act of God or spiritual of some higher power. So depending upon your belief system, because the whole book is a sort of a dialogue between the believer and the non-believer, and many things like that. So we bring those things in the discussion. So I think what today we are going to do, before we start the tradition, some of you, I know some of my Canadian friends are here. because most of our programs are in Urdu, but this was in English. So I took liberty to inviting some of my Canadian friends, and even one of them, Laura, will even share some of her ideas. So you people have to forgive me, because after 4 speakers in English, there are 2 speakers in Urdu. So I think you will just see the language, although you cannot read the language, but you can hear it, because every language has a certain rhythm or certain way of sort of expression. So you will have a little taste of the language that we write in. You can hear it today. One of the tradition is that when the new book is launched, what we do is we wrap it up like a gift. So that's why I invited Shakila Rafiq. So she will open it, and then we'll ask her to sign it, and then we will pass it. So anywhere you find some space in the beginning or the end, it will pass through, so that all of you, on any page, anywhere you find a little blank space, you can sign it, and then we will give Naeem Ashraf that as a gift, so that all of you are present here today, and then for the rest of his life he can cherish that, so that each one of you who is here can have a little mark on that special thing. So I'll ask Shakila Rafiq to open this ribbon. I think I should thank Marcelina, our secretary from the clinic, who did all this, because you know we men are very clumsy, we don't know to do all these things. So we wrapped it by Marcelina, one woman, and we're asking Shakila Rafiq, another woman, to open that. So you can pass this on. So now we have sort of the speakers. First, because the book is in English, the translation will start with the English speakers, and then we'll end with the Urdu speakers. So the first speaker, I think some of you know him very well, but some of you may not know him that well. His name is Shahid Akhtar. He recently published a special book, a very important book on conflict resolution, and his 7 C's philosophy. He has been a very active member of Family of the Heart. Many times we even asked him to host one of some of our functions. His background is in law. He worked for human rights in different sort of organizations, and his special interest in literature, in art, and especially he is one of the great conversationalists. And I want to tell you or acknowledge that he was supposed to leave Toronto last week and drive to Vancouver with his sweetheart Shireen, his wife. And then Shireen took a stand and told him, how could you leave Dr. Sohail at this time? He had asked you to present, you promised that, and then you were leaving. So I want to thank Shireen that she used her feminine, female, wifely veto power and made him stop. And so he's here, and I will invite him to say a few words about DERVISHES. Come along, Shahid. I want to acknowledge many people who are here.